What is up? It's your girl Nick Robinson back with the Yara Effect, and we're gonna jump right into this new latest episode of Bravo's Love Hotel. So it's a lot going on in this episode. I mean, it's a lot of transitions. This one is called Guess Who's Back, right? So I was like, who would they bring back? I thought maybe they was gonna bring back the guy that Gizelle knew just to give her something to do because she over here playing anyway. But no, we're gonna get into it. But let's start at the top of the episode. We see where Earl and Shannon left off in the last episode. They were sitting at the couch in her room. She gave him this paper. I was thinking it was a Dear John letter that she was releasing him, right? But no, it was the sweetest thing. She actually found the stepson he was talking about a few episodes back. The 11-year-old stepson that, you know, when him and his mom divorced, he lost contact with. So she found him. She had a lawyer go find a little boy. She had his name, his email address, phone number, and address listed on that piece of paper that we saw her give Earl. That was so sweet of her. Like, she was saying that even though she doesn't see like a romantic connection with him at that point, she could still be nice to him. That's really sweet. But here's what I'd like to say about that. A lot of times when you do things like that, it could send a mixed message because it's like he's really into her, right? We can tell that he really likes her. She ain't really feeling him like that. He could see that as a sign of, oh, she really likes me or she really wants to be with me, that she would do this. When that wasn't the case at all. She was just being nice to him. And I'm not saying you can't be nice to somebody. Of course, you can be nice to somebody. But just keep in mind that it could send a mixed message, and it makes it harder to break things off when you go to a certain place with somebody. What scares me, I know, like when I was dating a few times, when you don't like a guy the same way he likes you, sometimes they get angry or whatever and they get mad. And so I'm not saying that Earl would do that. I'm just making a point to be careful how you move in these situations and scenarios. I feel like because I've had a bad experience or bad experiences, I'm a little more cautious. And even if I like wanted to be nice to somebody, I might would have done it at a different time. Like I might would have, you know, but then again, it's a controlled situation there in that they have cameras, they have security and everything like that. So I guess in this situation it works, but in real life, I would say, you know, I might either leave it alone if I didn't intend to continue with him, or I would send him that information at a later time once we're not in each other's space anymore. I'm like, hey, you know, I know things didn't work out between us, but, you know, I did find, you know, your stepson, here's the information, you know, I wish you well. That's how I would have done it in real life. But, you know, they on TV, so here we are. But it was a really sweet gesture that she did. So, Adam says that he's not feeling threatened by whatever is going on between Shannon and Earl. Like, he feels pretty confident that, you know, he and Shannon has a future. But what he doesn't understand is that he did not seize the opportunity to make an impression on her. He gotta remember that he came in after she and Earl had already been on like dates. They had spent a lot of time together, and he feels like, oh, I don't have to tell her how I'm feeling. I don't have to show her how I'm feeling. He has a lack of emotional intelligence. And the reason I say that is because if you are in a dating situation where you're competing with numerous men for one woman, the girlfriend, two of the three girlfriends she has there tells you that you need to step it up and show her how you feel, and yet you still don't seize the opportunity, that tells me that he just doesn't get it. He's clueless. And at that big age, you're trying to explain something like that to somebody. It's just a waste of time. And I'm sorry, it doesn't mean that he's not a good guy. We don't know. He probably is a very nice guy, but it's kind of like you have to come with something, sir. Like, why would you say, I know he was on his way out the door. He was like, well, I don't see why I got to show her how I'm feeling. You know, what? Excuse me? I'm pretty sure if he watched this back, he'd be like, yeah, that's why I messed up at. He did not seize the opportunity to make any connection with her when they were out on the porch. He's not showing her anything. He's just letting her go on off with Earl, but he's like, yeah, I'm confident confident in what? Y'all haven't shared anything. Y'all haven't connected. She's connected with Earl. I mean, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know how much physical touch they've had and stuff like that. But that's exactly why you have to go ahead on and just show yourself. And it's kind of like if you can't deal with these type of situations, maybe you shouldn't put yourself in them. It's not enough to just show up. Even if it was a one-on-one situation, it's not enough to just show up. You have to capitalize on your opportunities, and he didn't. So yeah, here we are. You know what I'm saying? She's like, whatever. She's comfortable with Earl because of all the guys that she's interacted with. He's the only one that's really opened up to her, and I understand that. So the day's events are they're just hanging out at the house, making connections, getting that time to just do one-on-one with the men and the women, which that makes sense to me. We see, where Ashley is all up in Wale's face or whatever, because she really do like him. You know what I'm saying? She really do like him. She really do like Wale, but later on in the episode we see where she admits that she's afraid to really just go there with him, right? And she keep playing hot and cold with him, honestly. And you can tell he's getting frustrated with the shit. Like, he like, listen. Because he told her that, like, last episode, I believe. Like, yeah, you like me. Like, why are you acting like this? You know what I'm saying? And so, it seems to me like when he said that to her, she kind of like ran for the hills or whatever. She was like, okay, let me skedaddle over here. She went to, Jason, who she knows she ain't studying him. And that didn't work because she's not getting anything out of Jason, and she's not into the lifestyle that he potentially may want to get into, right? So, let's see. Jason pretty much is biding his time because he knows there's nothing here for him. I mean, he and Ashley didn't really hit it off. That's the only woman he would be interested in, rightfully so, because he's young like Ashley. Gizelle is beautiful, but she's older and ice cold. And then, Luann and Shannon, not his type, and neither is he their type. So, yeah, he knows that it's pretty much, a wrap for today. He was just over there off in the corner by himself, chilling. And then Ralph lurking around. He done got in his head that he want to bang Ashley. Of course, because look at, how they've been interacting with each other. It's just all so physical all the time. Like, it's just, yeah, that's all it is to it. So, Adam and Luann Gizelle and Luann talks to Adam, and, they giving him some advice that he doesn't take. Yeah, so whatever. So elimination is up, and the ladies have the keys once again, and here we are. So let's see. Shannon gives her key to Earl, and Luann was like, I want to give my key to him. But that's Luann, you know what I'm saying? Shannon feels comfortable with Earl. That's all. That's the only reason she gave him a key, because she didn't feel like Adam really stepped up to anything. If Adam had stepped up and really shown some initiative, he would have gotten the key and not Earl. She's comfortable with Earl, and it's like you can tell Shannon don't want to be there and have nobody there for her. She knows Earl is there, so he's kind of like that friend that you play around with until somebody who you actually like comes along. That's what I see with that dynamic. I don't see her really going anywhere with Earl. I really don't, because she ain't into him like that. Gizelle chooses Phil, and the only reason she chooses Phil is because, like, Ashley all up in Ralph Kool-Aid, and for whatever reason she didn't like Jay, you know what I'm saying, he says that he wants to buy out, you know what I'm saying, he wants to bow out and just go home because him and Gizelle didn't make a connection, and he understands that there's not a woman there for him. And so he, gracefully bows out. And I can't say I blame him. Like, Gizelle wasn't giving him nothing. I think if Gizelle had really just kind of gotten to know him more, she would have found that he might have been somebody to keep around. Because my thing is this right here. If she can, and I know she was young when she met Pastor Jamal Bryant, but I mean, he's more stoic and whatever, like Jay, right? So if she can like that, and in recent years try to get back with him, I don't know why she couldn't give Jay a chance. And you know what though? It's because Gizelle ain't serious. She ain't trying to be with nobody. Gizelle is scared. So here we are. And Jay was like, I'm gonna go. She gave Phil a key because, she wanna see about going out to LA or whatever. That's what I believe. And she wants somebody to be there for her. Like she don't wanna not have somebody there for her too. And she knows that Phil is into her. So here we are. Moving right along to Luann. Of course, she gave James her key, which was so sweet because earlier in the episode we saw where James had given her like this gift. It was a heart, and he was telling her that she's taking his heart. So I thought it was cute. They have a good dynamic together. So she was gonna give him her key, and then Ashley, it's her turn. And it's funny because Joel said that we're in the Ashley verse. Like, she had 3 guys that was there for her, basically. She started talking and she was like, Wale, we've had a good time, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to choose Ralph. And it's like, dang, she ain't even saying it to Jason. It's like he wasn't even there. So, yeah. And then Joel gave the ladies a chance to save one of the guys that was on the chopping block. And of course, they saved Wale for Ashley because they felt like Wale is who she should have given her key to and not Ralph. And I agree. Like, girl, whatever. Okay. So, basically Adam and Jason went home. Now, Ashley admits to Wale that she's afraid and stuff like that. And, she's talking about the fact that he wants kids. Now, let me say something here. I'm in agreement with Ashley when it comes to that situation. She was saying how kids do change the dynamic of a relationship. That is true, like it or not. Kids do change the trajectory of a relationship. And when you have children with someone, the relationship is not the same. I don't know how Michael was when the kids came along, but I know, like with my ex, he felt like my attention wasn't on him. And I wasn't sure how to navigate. Like, this is a baby. Like, my first baby was sick when she was first born. She needed breathing treatments and stuff. She couldn't keep her food down. She had really bad acid reflux. I mean, I was barely doing for myself because I had to give her breathing treatments. I had to, make sure she wasn't choking in her sleep on her formula. Like, I mean, and back when I had her, they didn't have like the sensitive tummy and all that stuff. Like, they didn't have that. So, like, this little sick baby that I have to do everything for, and he wasn't hands-on, right? He was not hands-on. How dare you sit here and be like, oh, you neglected me, when really, if you helped me, then we would have had more time together, right? Stuff like that changes the relationship. And that's what Ashley was saying. She was like, when you have kids, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. She's not sure she wants to go through that, right? On top of that, she's not sure she even want to have any more children. So the fact that Wale, never been married, doesn't have children, and wants kids is a problem. Not a problem per se, but it causes some hesitation there, because I ain't gonna lie, my first date face to face with my current husband, my now husband, our first date, I was like, how do you feel about kids? Like, do you want more kids? Because he already had kids. I already have kids. So it's like, how do you feel about kids? Because I'm at a place in my life where I don't want any more. Like, at the time, my baby girl was 11. Would I look like starting over? Like, no, I didn't want more kids. Now, at one point in my life before I met my now husband, would I have wanted to meet the love of my life and have another child to share that experience with him? Absolutely. But time had gotten away from me, and I just didn't want to put myself through that, as far as, like, my pregnancies are really hard on me. Health-wise, I was afraid as well. So, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm not looking to have any more children. And so when you know that there's a situation that's kind of like a hard no for you, and it's not something that you can change, because it's like, if this man wants kids, he deserves to have kids, y'all. Like, he should get what he wants in that regard. Ashley already has children. it's kind of a situation where you asking somebody to really release a desire of theirs, something that you already have yourself, but you want to tell them they can't do if they're gonna be with you. It's not fair. You see what I'm saying? So she's valid in that. She's really valid in that. And you know, for that reason alone, I think is why she kind of like distanced herself from Wale, because she can see herself really falling in love with him, but then not being able to give him what he wants as far as children. Now, when it came to me and my husband, he told me that, like, you know how like you have a plan in place for your life where, oh, I want this number of kids and stuff. He was like, yeah, I always wanted 2 boys and 2 girls. He has 2 boys and a girl of his own. And, you know, he was like, you know, I wanted to leave it up to, you know, being married before I think about having another child, and me and my wife discussing what the options are. And I went on and told him that first day, I was like, look, if you are looking to have a baby and you're leaning more towards having a baby than not, then maybe you want to find somebody else that is on the same page with you in that. Because his youngest child is a little younger than my youngest child, right? At the time, he was like 6. So, you know, we talked about it, and I asked him several times. And ladies, here's the thing. When you first get to know somebody, it's my opinion that you should go ahead on and put out however you feel about very important things early. Because that way, you are not in a situation where you've like gotten to know somebody, they've gotten to know you, y'all in love, y'all vibing, and y'all doing this, y'all, and then skirt, like, stop, wait a minute, hold on. You what? You say you don't want any kids, but I want more kids, or I want a child? Like, don't do that to yourself, and don't do that to somebody else, right? So she has the right idea. What I don't want Wale to do is say he's okay with something just to get her, and he's not. Because when it comes to her lack of desire of wanting to have a child, he doesn't really let her talk it through. And he doesn't really say, oh, well, you already have 2 sons, I'm okay with being a stepdad. He doesn't say that. So, yeah, I get where she's coming from with not moving forward with him. So, yeah. She has that talk with him. And then, you know, Wale's like, why are you even in my face when you chose Ralph? Like, you should be talking to him, which she ends up doing. And she brings him to her room. And here's what gets on my nerves with Ashley a little bit. She brings him to her room, and we all suspect what's going to happen between the 2 of them because of how they've been interacting with each other, right? So he's like, yeah, you know, I want to make love to you, which, duh, we all knew that. You know what I'm saying? And then she's like, oh, well, you know, my cycle just started or whatever. And in my mind, at the time I was watching this, I'm like, now, if you knew your cycle was on, why you even bring this man to your room? You know, if you're not one that engages in intercourse when your cycle is on. Some women do, you know, whatever. That's your choice, right? But the fact that you're saying, oh, my cycle just started or whatever, and you know what vibes y'all been having, like, she's such a tease. She is a big, big tease. Like, Wale recognizes the game that she playing. You know, Ralph, I don't know what he recognizes except the fact that he want to screw her, right? Okay. But see, she knows one thing about Ashley. She's deeply in her femininity. She knows the value of the push and pull. That's one thing I can say about that girl. You have to have that little bit of a tease. You have to have that little bit of a cat and mouse type situation with guys. They love that. It's like, it's how catnip is for a cat. It's like how, you know, it's a form of an aphrodisiac, if you will, to keep a guy on his toes. And she knows how to do that. I'll give it to you, Miss RB. You know how to do that. So yeah, she keeping both of these men on their toes, with how she's interacting with them. You have to be careful with that, though. You really do, because it's a fine line between playing with somebody's emotions and just kind of having that push and pull dynamic that's healthy and good and fun in a relationship. So the next day, she and Gizelle are having breakfast. Gizelle was kind enough to bring in a breakfast tray to her to talk. And she reveals that, like, even though the kisses that her and Ralph share are passionate, they're weird in that she says it's like he's a lizard. Like, I was like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like how a lizard kind of like darts his tongue in and out. That's what she was saying. I was like, yikes. No. So, yeah. She was like, when they got to the room or whatever, she told him that she was tired or whatever. And we see a clip where they come from the porch where they were kissing, and she said her cycle started. Obviously, he was down with still screwing even if her cycle was on, because he was still hanging out in the room. And they was on the sofa, and she was like, well, I'm tired, whatever. So Ashley clearly loves being chased, right? And men love chasing. So here they are, Wale and Raph are at a place where she is like emotionally into Wale, physically into Raph, and she said if she could put them together and have one man, it'd be perfect. So here we are. Yeah, so we see James and Luann are working out in the morning, and we see where Shannon and Wale, they have a talk about the night before. Shannon and Wale are like friends for real. Like, she really is rooting for Wale and Ashley, and I can tell she really wants those two to be together because she was saying when it was Ashley's turn to choose, she got to choose Wale, which she didn't, but whatever. That's Ashley. Joel brings in 6 new guys on the beach. Honey, he had on his little Speedo and stuff, honey. Joel was like, yes, I'm on the beach. I'm with my Speedo, okay? Y'all leave him alone. But yeah, 6 new men. And yeah, so the ladies are getting to know them. Gizelle is talking to them. Honey, we know Gizelle ain't really studying none of them, but she seems to make a connection with this guy named Theo. He is a doctor from New York or whatnot, and they seem to hit it off pretty good for Gizelle. That is, I mean, like, whatever. Ashley is sitting with this guy named Calvin, cute guy. He's a boxer. He's also a chef. They're talking and everything, and he's aggressive. Not in a bad way, but he's assertive. I'll say that, because when Ashley was talking to one of the other guys, he like pulled her to the side and was like, hey, come here. We finna do this. So they was going doing s'mores or whatever. So that was cool. She kind of liked that. She said the decisiveness that he showed in that moment is what she shows is lacking in younger guys. And he was a younger guy. They're around the same age. And she was saying she liked that assertiveness because she finds that more in the older guys than she does the younger guys. And nobody had to tell Calvin to go get her. He just was like, yeah, come on over here. We finna do this. So, yeah. Shannon is interested in any other man. She's like, no, where's Earl? I'm good on these guys. I'm not really excited about these guys. Luann, we find out who is back. Mark is back, the one who she called Jesus Christ. He's back, and she gets right to it. Luann, in her fashion, they're sitting by the beach. She's like, give me a kiss. He didn't even step up to the plate and do it. I don't know if he was hesitating because he's trying to be a gentleman or what, but if a woman asks you to kiss her and you're into her, you're going to do it without hesitation. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't, so she got up and walked off. She was like, okay, bye. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not taking the initiative. If you into me, she was like, I'm half naked for God's sake. And she had on this beautiful bikini with this, she had on this 2-piece bikini, and she had on this swimsuit cover that showed, it was like sheer or whatever. And it was really cute. She was really cute. Honey, he did not take the opportunity, so Luann was like, okay, bye. I don't blame her. Like, get the hell on. If you're not gonna seize the moment, then get the hell on, because again, you only have a certain amount of time to make an impression, and he didn't do nothing with it. So, whatever. Let's see. Now, she did hit it off with this guy named Mitch. They like traveling. So she was able to speak with him about traveling and stuff. So she was intrigued by a Mr. Mitch. Okay. So let's see. The ladies talk about their interaction with the new men and everything. And then they're given an opportunity to choose 3 of the 6. So 3 of the 6 men are going away. And who they chose was, of course, Luann chose Mitch. Because Mark lacks effort and, initiative. So she was like, okay, bye again. Okay. Gizelle chose Theo, the New York doctor. And Shannon gives her key to Mark because she misses him and she don't want the other guys in the house. So she was like, yeah, Mark, you can come on with me. So yeah, it was funny because when they got back, James was like saying that Luann was his girlfriend. And she was like, I'm not your girlfriend. Like, no, like, not, absolutely not. But at the end of the night, she took James to her room. And baby, I don't know what happened, but honey, she did cover that camera. And I don't know if it was a sound effect or if his zipper was actually coming undone. I don't know. But yeah, so we just gonna leave that where it's at. Okay. And Wale and Ashley talk once again, and she talks about why she's holding back, which is the fact that he wants kids and she's not sure how she feels about it. So that's pretty much the end of the episode. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I feel like the connections are getting a little deeper now. Ashley is in a place where she just weaving herself into this corner. She painted herself in a corner basically. And I'm interested to see what she's going to do. Do I think she's going to really have a long-standing relationship after this? Hard to say. I don't think it's wise to enter into a relationship with Wale because it's just going to end in heartbreak. As far as Ralph, you know, if you want to screw him, then go right ahead because that's all that's going to be. And Gizelle, I don't think she's going to be serious with nobody. As far as Luann, she may continue with James for a little bit, but we'll see. And then Shannon is using Earl as a security blanket, basically. So, y'all tell me what y'all think. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, all the good things. And I will see you guys later. I appreciate each and every last one of you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.